Thank you, Alan. All right, good morning, traders. Today is it's Rabbit. It's the first day of the month, December 1st, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you so much for following my content, liking my content, subscribing to my content. Thank you for all my room subscribers here. Thank you for following my podcast, liking it, sharing it. Hey, special shout out to Jim Jordan, Bob Jordan, Kathy, Sarah, Roasted, everybody that, and John Jordan, everybody that shares the content helps get the good word out there to the rest of the community. All right, let's take a look at the markets today. Got a few announcements. Let's start with this one right here. Black Friday. Still got our Black Friday sale going on. It's $39.95 for a lifetime subscription. That includes all of the workshops. I believe that includes any workshop, and that regularly goes for about $10K. So nice dip in nice discount there for Black Friday, as well as Cyber Monday. Today we have what do we got today? We got 12 months for $12.05. So that's $1,205, and you get an extra 6 months added onto that. So that's 18 months total for $1,205. That is our Cyber Monday sale. I will leave links in the chat and in the description of the video. So that's 18 months for $1,205 if you want to get an annual subscription, and that'll lock you in for 1.5 years right there. All right, let's take a look at the markets this morning. All right, so my SPY pivot this morning, 679.75. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. All of the Fab Five, except for IWM, made higher highs and higher lows, closing over bullish traps over their 17 EMAs. IWM made an inside day on Friday, closing over a bullish trap and over the 17 EMA. Friday, SPY closed with 2-hour uptrend and 10-minute bullish consolidation. Gold in a daily uptrend made a higher low and a higher high. Gold's taken off, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. Silver, same deal there. Still in started a new daily uptrend on silver. Made a higher high and a higher low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. USO in a daily downtrend made a higher high and a higher low, closing over a bullish cross and over the 17. UNG starts a new daily uptrend by making a higher high and a higher low, closing over a bullish cross as well, and over the 17 EMA. US dollar index still remains in an uptrend, closed near the 99.76 area. It's still in that bear flag. SPY max pain for today, 680. Put to call ratio of about 1.4 puts to each call that expires today at 4:15. If this is your first time here, okay, everything here under the bull section should be in daily downtrends daily uptrends, daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. If they got a little star next to it, it means they're building out a launch pad from which to launch higher. In other words, a bull flag from which to rip higher from. Everything here, daily downtrend under the 17, daily uptrend over the 17 under the bulls, daily downtrend under the 17 EMA. It's got a little star next to it, building out a bear flag or a platform from which to dip lower. Okay, so these are building out launch pads or bull flags from which to launch higher. So these are daily uptrends, daily downtrends right there. All right, let's take a look. Crash course in day trading. Got open house December 3rd. Again, I'll leave the link in the description for everybody out there in video land. Everybody here in the room will obviously be here for it. Crash course in day trading on December 3rd. Hope to see you there. Free to attend. All you got to do is register. If you want to take your smartphone and scan the QR code right here, that'll open up a link in your browser. All right, and then you fill out the registration form, and we will send your credentials by email. All right. If you do not see your credentials by email, more than likely they are in your spam folder. All right. Just let you know about that. All right. Let's take a look at the markets today. All right. Got the game plan. All right. Price over 683.70. That's a green erases red entry. Pivot again 679.75. Above it I'm a bull, below it I'm a bear. Red erases green below 676. That would be a red erases green entry underneath there. I like 4 days till expiration and 11 days till expiration. I like the Friday options because they got more open interest, and more open interest usually means higher liquidity. I like them on the multiple of 5. There tends to be more open interest on the multiple of 5. I trade strikes $2 to $15 out of the money. I trade that because I like them cheaper. My ideal option for me cost me anywhere between 30 cents and $1.20, $1.40 around there. All right, I don't like them any more expensive than, especially if I'm gonna day trade them. I don't like them any more expensive than $1.20 or $1.40. Other than that, I prefer them to be between 30 cents and $1.20, $1.40. For that, I can defend that. So for me, that's the strikes I like. So whatever it costs for per share. All right. So I'm looking for something that's like 30 cents per share, dollar per share, $1.20 per share, around there. I trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I trade 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. If a 10-minute downtrend happens to manifest up here long before it gets to the red erases green entry, all right, I'm not opposed to trading it as long as it breaks the 10-minute bearish rubber band candle. Same thing goes for uptrends that manifest down here underneath the red line or underneath the pivot or just over the pivot. I'm not opposed to trading them as long as they break the bullish 10-minute rubber band candle to the upside. Okay, so I like trading them. I'm not going to trade them unless I see some really bullish action, and when usually after you break the bullish 10-minute rubber band candle, usually price is off for a run. All right, so that's what I like. SPY game plan. QQQ's got a game plan as well. QQQ, green erases red entry over 619.25. QQQ pivot 613.90. Above it I'm a bull, below it I'm a bear. Red erases green underneath 610.25. Again, same thing goes. I trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I trade 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. What equals a 10-minute uptrend? Well, that would be when the 3 and the candlesticks are riding on top of the 3. So the 3 and the candlesticks are riding on top of the 8. That's the white line right there. And both of those are pointed up, the 3 EMA and the white 8 EMA. All right, and they're rising up over VWAP. So here's VWAP, that brown line. It's hard to see. It's this burnt brown line right through here. So this, on Friday, would have been a 10-minute uptrend, okay, over VWAP right there. So 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Didn't go far, but kind of consolidated, then melted up here at the end of the day. Again, you got consolidation over prior consolidation. That was bullish for a breakout. Looks like we're getting a pullback right now in the early morning hours. So let's go take a look at the early morning. Well, let's take a look at one more thing here. Okay, QQQ. I like 4 days and 11 days till expiration. Friday options on the multiple of 5. Again, I like them 30 cents to a buck 20 per share when I'm purchasing my options to day trade. All right, I trade strikes $2 to $15 out of the money. Okay, so let's take a look at the 10-minute chart here on QQQ and SPY. You can see basically just moving over to the right. Okay, just Nothing special. Not an uptrend really. Not really a downtrend. Got a one candle week uptrend right there on QQQ. So I'm going to call it bullish 10-minute consolidation. Same thing on SPY. Okay, bullish 10-minute consolidation. They're holding the higher ground. Okay, they're not giving it up. They're not quite in a downtrend, not quite in an uptrend coming into the close on Friday. Both of them on 2-hour chart. Okay, you can see we've got the candlesticks riding on the 3. This is the SPY. Candlesticks riding on the 3, 3 and the candlesticks riding over the 8. Okay, the 3 and the 8 are both pointed up, slanted up, sloped up. Okay, riding over the 17 EMA. That's these green dots right there. So 2-hour uptrend on SPY, and we'll go back to QQQ. QQQ, you can see obviously the 8 EMA, which is the white line, is pointed up because it goes from here up to there. All right, it's slanted up. Same with the 3 EMA. So we got an uptrend on the 2-hour chart, both QQQ and SPY. Then on the daily charts, you can see QQQ and SPY made higher lows, higher highs, closing over bullish traps. Okay, 3 on top of the 8, that's a bullish trap. Okay, if the 3 were under the 8, this would be a bearish trap. When the 3 is under the 8, this would be a cross. This is a bullish trap over the bullish trap and over the 17 EMA right here. Okay, so that would be these dots right through there. So QQQ now in an uptrend because they broke this high right here. Same with SPY. Okay, they broke this high, so they're in an uptrend. On the daily time frame, all right, weekly time frame still in an uptrend, nothing broken there. Monthly time frame still in an uptrend, nothing broken there. Same with QQQ, same with SPY. Okay, on the weekly, okay, again, weekly in an uptrend, same with QQQ, still in an uptrend, nothing broken there. Okay, so there's QQQ and SPY. Weekly uptrends, monthly uptrends, daily uptrends, 2-hour uptrends, 10-minute bullish consolidation. Now, my favorite trade is the 10-minute uptrend. Okay, so that's a 3 on top of the 8. Okay, riding up on top of VWAP. Okay, so a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. All right, inside of a 2-hour uptrend, that resides inside of a daily uptrend, that lives inside of the weekly uptrend, that also lives inside the monthly uptrend, and over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's my premium setup right there. You get all of the major time frames, all the larger time frames, helping support that 10-minute uptrend to move to the upside further, farther, longer. All right, so that's my favorite trade. Okay, we could have it today. We may not. We'll see. Kind of dipping early in the morning. We'll see if we recover any of that dip later on. Here's QQQ. Let's take a look at 10-minute. And let's look at some pre-market activity so we can see what we got going on. Okay, I'm going to pick up a clean chart so we can look at what's going on in the pre-market, post-market. We're still holding the highs. Nothing's broken. We do have a 10-minute downtrend, and you can tell by looking at 3 EMA, candlesticks riding on the 3. All right, the 3 is riding underneath the 8. The 3, the 8, the candlesticks are riding underneath. See the green, the red dots, the 17 EMA. So we got a 10-minute downtrend currently going on right now. So we got consolidation, under consolidation, okay, right there, and under this consolidation right here. Okay, so I would look for this 10-minute downtrend to continue moving down until it finds support. So where's it going to find support? Let's take a look, and we should find some support right there, which you can see we're getting a bounce. So let's put a support level right there. Right there, we should find some support. If not, if they get any lower than that, then they're going to do the gap fill. Okay, so this would be the next level down. would be the gap fill for whatever day that was. So they closed there on 608.91. 608.91. It's got to come down a little bit lower. That would be gap fill for that day. So 608 and up it to 91. All right, so for me, all right, if this support doesn't hold, I would be interested in falling in line with the 10-minute downtrend to the downside. Okay, so obviously we broke some rubber band candles here, so this is good to go in the pre-market. We're underneath VWAP. I would look for a red candle to jump in on. All right, and I would want no dojis. Okay, I wouldn't want any spinning tops either. Okay, I wouldn't want, that's not a spinning top though, but I wouldn't want a spinning top. That would be more of a spinning top. No dojis, all right, no spinning tops. I wouldn't want anything that has more tail than body and wick. Okay, if it's got more tail than body and wick, then that's showing me like this. That's a little bit of bullish control. So we don't want any of that, okay? And I wouldn't want a green candle, all right? Same thing's going to go for SPY, okay? Take a look at SPY here. Again, we got the 10-minute downtrend currently going on. Again, I would be looking for a continuation. Obviously, you see the 10-minute, the rubber band candle has been broken. So I would look for to drop in on a candle. Nothing. I wouldn't want a doji. Wouldn't want a spinning top. I wouldn't want a candle that has more tail than body and wick combined. Okay, so nothing with a huge tail down with very little body and wick. And I wouldn't want a green candle. Right now we're getting a little bit of a bounce here, okay? So you see price action bouncing off of right this area right here. So see where they want to go with that. All right, below this, I would look for the gap fill, which is going to be right here, 675.07. And we have an all-time high anchored VWAP living right here at about 672. Let's back this out and let's put that in there. So all-time high anchored VWAP. You can see that's right about 672.24. Okay, so if they get below this, I'd look for the gap fill. If they get below the gap fill, there's still a lot of time left in the day, and it doesn't look like they're ready to bounce. I would venture to say they're probably going to go after the backside of the all-time high anchored VWAP, which is right about 672.20, 672.25 area. Okay, so that's for both SPY and QQQ. We can go back to QQQ. QQQ. I'll get it. Put in the all-time high anchored VWAP, see where we are with that. And you can see that's a little bit different. You can see that's a little bit stronger up there. All-time high anchored VWAP is much higher. So we'll see what happens here. Okay, so there's QQQ. So I'm looking for a trade on the continuation of the downtrend. Okay, continuation of the downtrend. All right, if they break up this 10-minute downtrend, more than likely, I will box off the first 15 minutes and trade the breakout of the first 15 minutes. Okay, so that will be my beginning trade. I will box off, I will put it on the 5-minute chart. I will box off the first 5-minute candles and put those into a box. And whoever breaks out of those or closes a candle outside of that box will be the direction that I will trade. More than likely, if they can't maintain the 10-minute or the 15-minute downtrend. All right, so Watch both the 15 and the 10 for that continuation pattern. All right, for SPY and QQQ. All right, let's take a look at FNGU. And we'll look at it on the daily chart. All right, and if I got that right, let's pick it up right here on the scratch. So here's FNGU. Of course, that's this morning's candle. Okay, this would be Friday's candle. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap. Okay, over the bullish trap right there. And over the all-time high, anchored VWAP right here. All right, and over the 17 EMA. Okay, so FNGU, did they make uptrend status? We'll find out just a second here. The high there is 29.91. The high for Friday, 29.98. They busted the downtrend. They have now converted an uptrend. That's nice, but they need to move up. All right, they moved up to break the downtrend. We don't need them to pull back now. Okay, we need them to march on forward. Okay, so again, having uptrend status is nice, but you've got to move up. All right, so there's FNGU in a pullback after making uptrend status Friday close right there, closing over that high that pokes right through the 17 EMA there. So there's FNGU. All right, let's take a look at IWM. And IWM is this green candle right here. This is today's pre-market. IWM in an uptrend. Got a high right here. They made a higher high, so they're in an uptrend. Yesterday's candle was an inside date. It's a lower high and a higher low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. There's IWM. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow, this is the all-time high for Diamond Dow. That's pretty close. That's good work right there. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the 17 EMA, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. They broke the rubber band candle as far as all-time high anchored VWAP goes. That would be the spike candle. This is the free-floating candle above, okay, the spike candle. And we closed the candle above that. Okay, that's bullish right there. Diamond Dow. All right, so Dow also, but only thing is Diamond Dow still in a downtrend. Okay, because there's a low, and they made a lower low. Okay, now in order to negate the downtrend, they got to take out a high. Well, this is the first high you come to right there. So they got to take out the all-time high to negate the downtrend. So they're in a downtrend, but get this, they're moving up. Okay, see that? They even got uptrend status. No, they're still in a downtrend, but they did break that bullish rubber band candle. Okay, so that's bullish there. So I'll zoom way out. You can see that. They're in the upper third. Here's the April low. There's the rally up to these highs up here. So they're bullish in a downtrend that's not moving down, that's moving up. Okay. Same with IWM. They're bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, because they broke that high. Bullish and in an uptrend. SPY daily chart. Again, bullish. They broke that high and in an uptrend. QQQ. Okay, bullish. See, they broke that high right there. Bullish. All the way from back here, April. Bullish and in an uptrend. And FNGU. This is the big one. We're going to need this one to work for us. Bullish. Up there in quadrant 4. And in an uptrend. Remember, they squeaked out that high there Friday on FNGU. All right, let's take a look at silver and gold. All right. They're making really nice candles. Gold in an uptrend. I don't think they ever got themselves in a downtrend, but anyways, if they were, they broke this high. They're in an uptrend. They're in quadrant 4. They're bullish. I'll back way out. This would be quadrant 4 down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, got a low, making a higher low, got a high, making higher highs, uptrend there for gold. Let's take a look at silver. Okay, you can see silver got they got themselves in a downtrend by breaking this low right here. They did come back and take out this high, so they're in an uptrend. Nice work on silver up there. So anyways, silver's candle, let me make sure I got the right one, is this candle right here. Higher low, higher high, over a bullish trap, over the 17, in an uptrend, making a new all-time high, made a new all-time high Friday, and is making another new all-time high today. Okay, so there's a new all-time high Friday, and another new all-time high being made right now. Okay, so there's silver. Obviously, if it's making new all-time highs, it's bullish and in an uptrend right there. Let's take a look at UNG. All right, UNG got themselves in a downtrend by taking out this low. All right, and now they took out this high right here, this 3-candle consolidation. So now they're back into an uptrend on UNG. Yeah, Friday's candle is this one right here, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish cross or a bullish trap and over the 17 EMA, and now in an uptrend, and they are over. They closed over, first time in a long time that they have closed over the 2025 high anchored VWAP. Look at the last time they closed over it. That didn't close over it. That didn't close over it. That didn't close over it. That didn't close. That came close, but no cigar. Close. Again, no cigar. Close here, but look, they closed underneath it. All of these. This will be the first time in a long time since UNG closed over the 2025 high anchored VWAP. All right, so they are also in an uptrend right there. Still in the lower third, but obviously putting up a fight. All right, I'll just say that. Still bearish, in an uptrend, and obviously putting up a fight. This will be the first time in a long time UNG closes over the 2025 high anchored VWAP. Still in the lower third though, and at least they're holding some of this higher ground. That's a nice. That's a change, all right, for UNG. It's a big time change. I don't know if we're selling natural gas overseas now, because never seen this much bullishness, not in a long time. Okay, so let's take a look at USO. USO's candle, it's not the red candle, it's this one right here. Okay, this is the red candle, is today's candle right here. Higher low, higher high, closing over the bearish trap, but under the 17 EMA. Still, see this, still under the downtrend line. Still neutral, so still in a downtrend. All right, still in a downtrend. Not in the lower third, not in the upper third, so just neutral still. It's not ready yet. All right, still not ready yet. Making lots of challenges on this downtrend line down here. Still not ready yet. It'll be ready soon, I think. I think in 2026, you're going to see a nice uptrend begin in USO. That's what I think, all right? We'll see, all right? I've been proven wrong before, so, but I think that's going to happen. There's USO. All right, let's take a look at technicals, T2101. Again, you can see I trade the 15-minute chart. See price action here. Price moved up. Participation and breadth moved up. That is a welcoming sign. We like to see that. Let's take a look at T2120. We want T2122. How come? Here it is, T2122. Camped out inside Friday, inside the overbought zone all day. And we can stay up here for 9 days. You know, there's no limit to how long we can stay up here. All right. So just because, notice we've been up here since the 25th, okay, of November. And we can stay up here all day. We get close to 99 though. 99, anywhere, you know, like around 99, look for a pullback. You can see we hit 99 on the 26th right there. Pretty close. Yeah, 99.25. And you get anywhere up around 99, look for some pullback. But it's not hard to say that because it's almost at the top. But camped out in the overbought zone, that's very bullish up there. So market's showing a lot of bullishness late recently. You can see on T2101, we got more participation. T2122, we're camped out in the overbought zone. That's a welcoming sign. T2123, 15-minute chart is in an uptrend. Okay, we got some lows. We made a higher low. We got a high. We're making some higher highs. We're on the other side of the falling 200 SMA. I like that. We are bouncing off of the prior head and shoulders support line. Okay, so we'll see where we get with that. Okay, let's put the quad lines in. Okay, because this is the all-time high. We're still in quadrant 1. All right, that's bearish. So it's clearly got a lot of work to be done here. Still bearish down here. They can do it. All right, I've seen them do it before. And they got a nice start, and they're in a 15-minute uptrend. Let's take a look at the 3-bar chart. 3-bar chart. See, this is our prior head and shoulders. Notice price decapitated the head, therefore voiding or negating the head and shoulders, the bearish head and shoulders pattern right here. This would be a left shoulder, that would be right shoulder, that would have been the head, and you can see price, okay, remove the head so you don't have a head and shoulders pattern. So here we are at the all-time highs. They're still in the upper third, so they're bullish up there on the 3-bar chart. Not any higher highs yet on the 3-bar chart. Okay, there's a high. They got to beat that high right there. They are doing some of the right stuff. They're on the other side of the 17, and they're bouncing off of the support area. They're on the wrong side, or on the bearish side of, or underneath the flat 200 SMA. Again, not my favorite place to be unless I'm a bear, not a bear. So, again, a lot of work still to be done on T2123. Let's take a look at FNGU. Remember, FNGU is now in an uptrend after taking out this high. So they're in an uptrend. We'll see what they're doing in the pre-market. A little bit of dipping going on. Nice consolidation over prior consolidation. Friday's price action got a bullish gap up. All right, notice the bears never filled the bullish gap up. That's a welcoming sign. Got another bullish gap up. Bears never filled that gap. Okay, anytime you see a bullish gap up not filled by the bears by 1 o'clock or noon, you know bulls are in charge. All right, so right now looking like we got a bearish gap down. We'll see. We're not open yet. Okay, still got about an hour to go before we open up. Things could change. Economic data could turn things around. Speaking of economic data, let's go take a look at it. And we want this one right here. We'll take a look at the dollar. All right, so here's the dollar. Okay, so you can see price moves from this high in 2025 and moves down to this section down here. Okay, so you see this low. So we break below this low. So we make a bear flag. So we move down and then over to the right. So that's a bear flag right there. Now they did a little double top here. They were trying to break the bear flag. Okay, they were trying to break the bear flag. They failed here. They took another run at it and they failed there. Okay, so looking like today, if we close below this low, daily downtrend will be back in, daily uptrend will be back into a downtrend, okay, will be negated by making a lower low. Okay, so we've got price action making a low here, and they make a higher low, all right, and then we've got a high here, and they make a higher high, so that makes them in an uptrend, and then a higher low, and a higher high, and a higher low, and they tried to make a higher high, and they failed, significant higher high, and they failed. So now they're coming back to test the low. If this low, higher low, does not hold, all right, they will negate the uptrend and convert the downtrend on the daily time frame. Okay, they were trying to break the top side of the bear flag. Okay, and looking like double top here, so maybe they failed. We'll see. So still in an uptrend. They haven't broken it yet, but it's not looking bad for the bulls. Not looking bad for the bears. And we want the bears to be in control of the dollar. All right, because the weaker dollar is better for our markets. It makes our goods and services cheaper in the foreign markets. Okay, so earnings calendar. We'll start off with Monday. That's today. A lot of familiar names. Nothing that's going to move the markets. Tuesday, 136 billion for somebody who can find their P&L, and then we get CrowdStrike in the evening on tomorrow night. 125 billion again. Familiar names. Not going to move the markets a whole lot. Okay. Not going to be responsible for moving the markets anyways. Salesforce, 217 billion Wednesday night. Royal Bank of Canada, Wednesday morning, 215 billion. Snowflake, 84 billion. They're going to report Wednesday night with Salesforce. Again, more familiar names. Not really market movers here, but they will help out their sectors. Thursday, Toronto Dominion Bank, 142 billion in the morning. Bank of Montreal, 89 billion in the morning. Again, all familiar names, not market movers. Friday, Victoria's Secret, Nordic American tankers. Again, nobody here is going to be a market mover, but obviously you can see there's some familiar names here. Okay, so that's it for the earnings calendar. Let's take a look at Max Payne. Max Payne is 680 for today. That's for the options that expire today. Put the call ratio is about 1.4 puts for each call that expires today. All right, so not much of a put squeeze on the table either. Max Payne is 680. I think they're already hovering the 680 area right now. Take a look at the economic calendar for today. We got PMI manufacturing final, 945. ISM manufacturing index at 10. Construction spending at 10. Tomorrow we got motor vehicle sales, probably around 6:30, 7 o'clock. And nothing happening, nothing really big tomorrow. Nothing really, really big today. We got import-export prices delayed. That's coming in on Wednesday at 8:30. ADP employment report, 8:15 on Wednesday. MBA mortgage applications, and that's almost every Wednesday you get the MBA mortgage applications at 7. Industrial production, 9:15. PMI composite final, 9:45. ISM services index, 10 o'clock. Petroleum report at 10:30. Okay, I would say this week I would watch this employment report. But the big one's going to be personal income and outlays on Friday, right there. Okay? But I would keep an eye on this one, and I would keep an eye on that employment report. And Fed, even though they do want to cut another quarter, they're still looking at employment. They do not want to see employment ratchet up. So that's it. All right, so that's it for me today, traders. Well, not for today, but for this morning. I will come back around 9:15, 9:20, and I will open up the markets here with everybody in the room. Thank you all for hanging out with me. I'll try to do an update in the middle of the day if I can. If I can't, I will do an evening video. Thank you, everybody. All right, I'll see you guys in about, everybody, guys and gals, in about 35 minutes.